In April 2024, the USS John C. Stennis emerged from one of America's most...
This isn't just maintenance. This is bringing a floating city back from the dead. Welcome to the Aviation War Room. On Aviation War Room, we look at what's beneath the surface. When the water clears, the true battle with the elements is revealed on the carrier's skin. Precision is everything. We're talking about 100,000 tons resting on blocks no bigger than a kitchen table. One slip and history changes. The propellers are the heart of the ship's movement. At Aviation War Room, we appreciate the bronze giants. It's not just about the hull. Every inch of the flight deck overhang must be inspected for structural fatigue. Only on Aviation War Room. The anchors and chains are the ship's ultimate insurance policy. If these fail, the carrier is at the mercy of the tide.
Inside, the carrier is a maze of piping and power. Maintaining this city at sea requires a level of detail most can't imagine.
On Aviation War Room, we go deep. These rudders are the size of small apartment buildings, and even the smallest seal failure can leave a carrier dead in the water. Strip it down to the bone. To keep these ships fast, we have to clear years of ocean growth. This is the grit behind the glory at Aviation War Room.
Deep inside the belly of the beast, the power is managed. Aviation War Room takes you into the engine rooms where the real work happens.
Up there on the island, the eyes and ears of the ship are being reborn. Stay with us here at Aviation War Room for the full overhaul. Launching a 60,000-pound jet requires perfection. The catapults are the muscles of this ship, and we're making sure they're stronger than ever. Every millimeter of drag counts. A smoother hull means a faster ship and a longer range. That's the science of the Aviation War Room. Without these elevators, the flight deck is just an empty parking lot. We're overhauling the heavy lifters today on Aviation War Room. The hangar bay is the heart of the ship's strike capability. Safety here is paramount, and at Aviation War Room, we don't cut corners. It takes a nation to build these ships, and a dedicated crew to keep them fighting. Join us next time on Aviation War Room. In the Aviation War Room, we know that movement is a science. Every lift is a choreographed dance of steel and gravity. The guts of the carrier are just as vital as the flight deck. These pumps are what keep a 100,000-ton fortress level in the water. Landing a jet is essentially a controlled crash. At Aviation War Room, we're looking at the systems that make that crash safe every single time. From the keel up, every inch is scrutinized. This is the foundation of American naval power, maintained here at the Aviation War Room.
Vibration is the enemy of speed. We ensure these shafts are aligned to a fraction of a millimeter. That's the precision of the Aviation War Room.
Repairing the hull is like surgery on a giant, one perfect weld at a time. Stay tuned to Aviation War Room for more. The machinery here is built to last decades, but only if it's cared for correctly. We're deep in the gears today on Aviation War Room. From this height, you see everything. These sensors are the ship's brain, and we're making sure they stay sharp at Aviation War Room.
Behind every great ship is a set of specialized tools. We use the best technology available to ensure the carrier's survival.
Another day, another step toward the sea. This is the dedication it takes to maintain a legend. Only on Aviation War Room.
In the Aviation War Room, we know that paint is more than just color. It's a multi-layered shield against the relentless corrosion of the open ocean.
The carrier's nervous system is being completely rewired. Thousands of miles of fiber optics and copper are the brains behind the brawn at Aviation War Room. Arresting gear is the difference between a landing and a catastrophe. We're replacing the heavy-duty components that catch the world's deadliest aircraft. Aviation War Room takes you to the very bottom. This sonar dome is how the carrier listens for threats under the waves. It has to be flawless. Logistics is the fuel for this overhaul. Thousands of parts from across the country converge here at the Aviation War Room to rebuild a Titan.
Steam is the lifeblood of propulsion. These turbines turn nuclear heat into the massive torque needed to move 100,000 tons of steel.
The catapults are the muscles of the flight deck. At Aviation War Room, we're showing you how we keep that muscle from tearing under the strain. Every weld must be perfect. On the Aviation War Room, we don't just build, we verify. The brain of the ship is being upgraded. New sensors, new computers, and a new way to see the battlefield. Only on Aviation War Room. It's a massive undertaking, but the mission is clear. We're bringing a legend back to the front lines. Join us next time on Aviation War Room. In the Aviation War Room, we look at the parts that steer the giant. These rudders must withstand thousands of pounds of pressure every second the ship is at sea.
Alignment is the silent hero of propulsion. At Aviation War Room, we show you the precision required to keep a 100,000...
These propellers are works of art and engineering. Polishing them isn't for looks, it's for maximum efficiency in the deep ocean. Only on Aviation War Room. Logistics is the lifeblood of a dry dock overhaul. At the Aviation War Room, we see how thousands of parts come together to rebuild a floating airbase. The flight deck is where the action happens. Keeping it perfectly level and high friction is critical for pilot safety. We're on it at Aviation War Room. Miles of piping are the veins of the carrier. If one pipe fails, the whole ship could be compromised. We don't take chances at Aviation War Room. High above the deck, we're upgrading the ship's communication. This is how the carrier stays connected to the rest of the fleet. Only on Aviation War Room. Safety is our first priority. In a project this big, every detail matters. We're watching every move here at the Aviation War Room.
Moving heavy iron is what we do. Rebuilding the engines is a precision task that takes weeks to get right. Join us on the Aviation War Room.
The bridge is the brain of the carrier. We're giving this ship the most advanced navigation tech in the world. This is the future at Aviation War Room.
At the Aviation War Room, we know that moving 100-ton components requires more than just muscle. It requires perfect synchronization.
Precision is paramount when you're standing under 100,000 tons of steel. Here at the Aviation War Room, we monitor.
These pumps are the lungs of the carrier, controlling how she sits in the water. Only on the Aviation War Room do you see. At the Aviation War Room, we focus on the details that matter. Every nut and bolt on these massive propellers is a critical point of failure that we simply won't allow. A carrier isn't just a weapon, it's a home. The Aviation War Room covers the total overhaul, including the spaces. The anchor chain is the ship's final line of defense. At the Aviation War Room, we don't just look at the high-tech sensors. Redundancy is the name of the game in naval engineering. If the power fails, the mission can't. That's the standard we set here at the Aviation War Room. Every day brings us closer to the return to sea. The journey of the U.S. Stennis is far from over. At the Aviation War Room, we know the Waterline is where the battle against corrosion is won or lost. Every square inch must be sealed tight before she tastes salt again. The view from Pryfly is the best in the house. We're upgrading the eyes of the ship here at the Aviation War Room, giving the air boss total control over the deck. Even the smallest hatch is a critical defense. At the Aviation War Room, we ensure every seal is airtight, protecting the crew and the mission from the elements.
Water is the enemy of the engine room. Rebuilding these shaft seals is a masterclass in engineering precision. Only the best work for the Aviation War Room.
Fire is the greatest threat to a carrier at sea. At the Aviation War Room, we show you the advanced systems that protect. A perfect launch starts months before the jet ever hits the deck. We're calibrating the power here at the Aviation War Room. The scale of this operation is truly humbling. Thousands of hands, one mission. Welcome back to the Aviation War Room. The anchors are home. This is one of the final checks before the water returns. We're in the home stretch here at the Aviation War Room. Sun sets on another day of progress. The carrier is ready, and so are we. Join us for the final phase on the Aviation War Room. This is the moment of truth at the Aviation War Room. Before a single drop of water enters, the floor must be spotless. The floor is clear. The crews are out. At the Aviation War Room, we're ready to bring the ocean back to the Titan. 100 million gallons are about to move. On the Aviation War Room, we track the pressure. Too fast and the surge could shift the ship. Too slow and we lose the tide. The rebirth begins. At the Aviation War Room, we see the power of the sea as it rushes back to claim its own.
We watch the waterline like a hawk. Every inch the water rises is a test of our work. Aviation War Room shows you the tension of the float-off.
The propellers are back in their element. At the Aviation War Room, we're counting down the feet until this 100,000-ton giant is officially afloat. The balance of power is shifting. We're coordinating the final moves to pull this fortress out. This is the heavy-duty logistics of the Aviation War Room.
From the bridge, the change is palpable. She's alive again.
Only on the Aviation War Room can you
gate it up, Spirit, when it's opening. She's out. The overhaul is complete and the mission continues.
She's finally breathing salt air again. At the Aviation War Room, we know that leaving the dock is just the beginning. Docking at the outfitting pier is a game of inches. You're looking at 100,000 tons of momentum that needs to be stopped perfectly. Only on Aviation War Room.
The engines are waking up. Deep in the hull, the Aviation War Room is watching the transition from cold steel to a living, breathing powerhouse.
Launching a jet creates heat that would melt regular steel. At the Aviation War Room, we're checking the cooling systems that keep this deck from burning up. The wires are the lifesavers. We test these thousands of times before the first pilot ever tries to hook one. That's the Aviation War Room standard. The eyes of the fleet are scanning the horizon again. Up here on the island, the Aviation War Room sees the future of naval warfare coming online.
Communication is the glue that holds a crew of 5,000 together. We're testing every wire and every speaker here at the Aviation War Room.
Even at the pier, the anchors must be ready. At the Aviation War Room, we prepare for the worst-case scenario so the crew never has to face it.
A carrier is a hungry beast. Thousands of tons of supplies are flowing in right now. Logistics is the secret weapon of the Aviation War Room.
As the sun sets, the work never stops. The carrier is almost ready to defend the horizon. In the Aviation War Room, we know that the smallest detail can be the difference between life and death. A carrier is a city that travels on its stomach. We've overhauled the massive kitchens here to ensure our sailors are fueled for the...
Speed is life. The catapults are the muscles of the Aviation War Room. If they don't reset in seconds, the carrier's strike power is halved.
Visibility is everything when you're maneuvering 100,000 tons. At the Aviation War Room, we're giving the captain the clearest view possible, no matter the weather.
The elevators are the delivery system for the ship's bite. On the Aviation War Room, we ensure the ammunition gets where it's needed, fast and safe.
The carrier is built to take a hit and keep fighting. Damage control is the backbone of the Aviation War Room.
Staying at sea for months requires constant replenishment. At the Aviation War Room, we're maintaining the lifelines that keep our carriers on station indefinitely. The brains of the engine room have been completely modernized. From this room, we monitor every heartbeat of the ship. Only on the Aviation War Room. Weight and balance are a science on a ship this size. We track every ton added during the overhaul here at the Aviation War Room.
The most important part of the ship is finally back, the crew.
The overhaul is finished, the mission begins. This is the Aviation War Room.
At the Aviation War Room, we don't just hope it works, we prove it. This dead load test is the final hurdle before the first FA-18 touches this deck.
The brain of the ship is online. New charts, new sensors, and a new mission. Aviation War Room is witness to the birth of a 21st century warrior.
The anchors are seated. The ship is now independent. At the Aviation War Room, we understand that every link in this chain is a link in our national defense. She's on her own power now. The transition is complete. Aviation War Room brings you the moment this carrier becomes a self-sustaining city at sea. The tugs are straining, and the giant is moving. This is the payoff for years of labor. The sensors are scanning. The engines are humming. The Aviation War Room is tracking every heartbeat as the Stennis heads for the open ocean.
She's making her own way now. That wake is the signature of a successful overhaul. Aviation War Room, where engineering meets the sea.
This is what it's all about. From the dry dock to the deep blue, the Aviation War Room is proud to bring you the return of an American legend.
Mission accomplished. The Stennis is back in the hands of the U.S. Navy. Stay tuned to the Aviation War Room for the final trials.